You ever ask yourself, why does change feel so hard, or why does transitions feel just like earth shattering? Or for me, they do. So I realize when I go through transitions, a couple things usually happens. Sometimes I just feel that everything is not stable at times, even with trying to stabilize it. And sometimes I just feel like, man, I wish this would be over. On the flip side, I'm also, you know, praying for things and understanding that when you grow, things change. It's a verse in the Bible that talks about in John 15, he talks about he prunes us so that we can bear more fruit. If I was just to say that in simple terms, he cuts things off of us so that we can produce more of the right stuff. And we're in the middle of a transition with my family, and I cannot tell you, they've gotten easier in some ways where knowing that uh, habits are getting challenged, stories in our head are getting challenged, relationships are getting challenged. And something that has been helping me is, going back to simplicity as much as possible. Like in the middle of this transition that we're in, which I'll reveal in a different video, it's like, hey, whatever does not need to be done is not getting done right now. It's on pause. With doing that, I realized the first time I went through a big transition with with my family, man, I was catching so much headaches. I was so worried. I was so just all over the place. And now I'm just seeing more ways to do it. Simplicity always wins. The second thing that wins with transitions for me, potentially it can help you, is talking it out with people and talking it out with the people you're doing the transition with. And here's the kicker, allowing them to be completely human, allowing them to share their fears, their concerns, their worries, and not take it personal. When you change or when you have a transition, remember everybody sees it differently. This took me a long time to understand. I used to always say with my youngest daughter and even my oldest daughter, we're basically taking care of them, so they have nothing to worry about when we change anything. And that's not true because part of their routine or part of their comfort is shaken. So then you might say, then Drew, why do we change then? Why do we welcome transitions? Because as humans, we have to evolve. We have to keep growing. And if we're not growing, potentially we're dying. I don't believe that change is always easy. I believe change is necessary, but I believe how we start approaching the change has to, or it could be better. When we moved from Connecticut to Georgia, one of the biggest transitions for me was we didn't know where anything was. So, like, parks for my daughter, we were homeschooling, a good gym. That was part of my routine. Our church that we were going to attend was farther away. So, it was as if trying to get the comfort of the routine, and I failed at that badly. I was really just irritated, annoyed. If I would have did it again, I would have said, hey, let's first just establish some family routines. We do this on Mondays or Wednesdays. That's something I learned from getting punched in the mouth with all these transitions. With that being said, I realized that if overthinking is happening and anxiety is starting to happen, how do we simplify something so that that starts to go down? And I've learned that with my family, we love to go eat out. And when we eat out, we get to laugh, we get to not serve, and we get to actually just talk a little deeper. So, as many people would say, eating out is bad. I know for my family, we get a chance to debrief. So sometimes that would lower the anxiety and the overthinking. Something else that would help with the overthinking is realizing that people process at different speeds. I'm a heavy processor. It takes me a while to process. My wife, totally opposite. She can process in 10 seconds. My oldest daughter, 3 weeks. My youngest, they don't. She can process however. So with these transitions and with changing, you start to learn the people around you. You start to learn their temperaments. You start to learn, how do I help them stay calm? How do I help them stabilize something in their life while everything else may not be stabilized at all? And none of this is wrong. So transitions, change, it's not wrong. It's a part of growing. Or you cannot do that. You can just stay the same way you are. Now, and just talking about this as I make more videos about these transitions and changes, you'll see me come up with new things that I learned from people who have transitioned and who've had change, people who've done better at it, people who haven't done better at it. And I'm going to just keep forming things to do to help my family and share those things with you guys. Working with coaches and therapists on clarifying their message or making it more humanized, making it sound more like a human, I realized that when we help people by understanding what they feel and understanding them and seeing them, the connection is deeper. And that's how change is actually made. They don't need, like my daughters and my wife, they don't need to know the the big terms for this, for the overthinking, for all of that stuff. They just need to know, hey, I see you, I feel you, and I understand you. We can make this next step together. So if you're a therapist, even a coach, take that. Speak like a human. To wrap up with changing and transitions, part of me is nervous, but part of me is really excited to just see what happens when you let life uh, not dictate where you're gonna go, but you make a direction based on how God is leading you, how God is instructing you. So come along for the journey. Uh, get some tea, and we're gonna have some fun. Be good. Be great.